Yes, hello, welcome to Weekly Shonen Jump. This is Hiro and Fonzie.
We're back, bitches!
Oh, come on, really?
Yeah, from the new Team 4-Star episode, so everybody go watch it because it's awesome, and you know you'll love it.
Yeah, because keep trolling on YouTube, anybody. It will benefit you so. Alright, so we are starting off with the January 28th edition of Shonen Jump. We're starting off with Toriko chapter 219. And I've already read this, dude. And like I will say this most of the time, everybody in this series is overpowered and complete. Because after all, Toriko, as we left off before, Toriko is standing in fire, while his opponent Starjun is pretty much staring down and trying to take Kometsu.
You know, as you do.
Well, unfortunately, it seems that we also noticed that Zeus, the first head chef, is actually dead. I'm surprised at that because, of course, during the chapters beforehand, many of the already head chefs were already noticing that it would be the last festival of the chefs. However, they also noted that the fact that they were going to die. I guess they already had the perception of being able to tell when they were dead just by cooking.
I'm just like all my hopes and dreams.
Well, that's what you get for being white and Christian. Anyways, the battle will not actually go as planned because, of course, not only is Starjun there, but everybody in their right mind is trying to protect Kometsu because he seems to be a highly valued chef. However, Coco is the first one to actually go off on the offensive by shooting all of the predatory birds out of the sky with his poison, only to be sucked up by... Gotta say, this is probably one of the weirdest looking characters ever, Grin Patch. He's essentially a giant mosquito with 6 arms. He looks like one of those Asian deity gods.
However, well, what do you expect? It's Japanese, and he's got like all these arms.
Well, like I said, he has a total of 6 arms, and they don't even look like they are part of his own body structure. But gotta say that this guy is probably one of the creepiest looking guys in the world, and he's already absorbing all of Coco's poison, who's known to take out giant predatory creatures, and yet this guy just slurps up all the poison like it's nothing.
Maybe he took one of the arms of a black guy because...
Really? Really? Skin tone? This is coming from the guy who's colorblind! No offense, ladies and gentlemen, we love all people of different ethnicities and color. However, not even that is to satisfy the amount of Shonen Jump battle fans, as we actually introduce another fight between Sani and reintroducing our creepy insect lord, Tommy Rod. And boy, is this match way, way too out there, because of course we all know that Sani is completely disgusted by creepy-looking opponents. And once you notice that a giant crustacean or arthropod-like crab claw has just snipped off half his hair, yeah, Sani's not going to react the best way to that.
I also want to get back to the Grim Patch because, okay, is it just me or does he look like that Akatsuki guy who is like shark themed?
Well,
I forget his name. You have to remind me.
Well, wow, I can't even remember his name either. Shout out to forgetting everything about Naruto.
That's because nobody cares.
Well, originally Grim Patch was in the series beforehand, so for anybody who's actually noticed this before, Grim Patch was in fact in the BB Corn menu item chapter, which he was introduced and was able to completely defeat Toriko's types of attacks. However, he didn't actually stay there to finish off Toriko, since they in fact found a strange species of the first generation of creatures in the world. And of course, but to get back onto the subject, we now have an entirely huge battle between these 3 characters. No sign of Zebra yet. However, we do get notice that even Tegu and all the other chefs have decided to go into the fight too. I would not underestimate people who hunt rare ingredients and those who cook them. Seriously, in the previous chapters before, Tegu is probably the coolest looking chef and has earned said title. And of course, we now also notice that more of the Bishiokai including a much more fearsome character in the bottom left panel, who is in fact someone we all know. Unfortunately, I won't be able to tell you this because this is in fact where the chapter ends. It's kind of a short one, but it introduces the stage of who's fighting who. But
I'm just like in what all mangas do.
Cliffhanger.
Ooh.
Shout out to the cliffhanger.
Okay, so yeah, this is another one of your
boy
areas.
2 in a row. Fonzie is on a roll today.
Not for long.
Well, as we all know, the fight on Punk Hazard has eventually ended. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that was the final battle of there. However, we do in fact get a nice little reprieve from all the battle, to where in fact where the G5 and the Straw Hats have been divided a line to keep from the side of evil and the side of justice. Of course, this line is completely crossed when Luffy decides to talk to Brownbeard, but Brownbeard is exceptionally well to go with the Marines because him and the remainder of his crew want to become healed from Caesar's poison.
I do want to say is that on the first panel is I did not like how the first panel was drawn because it's very hard to see, what's going on there. I did not like how it was drawn.
Well, I think the reason why it was so hard to see in the first place was because the entire time snow is falling at the ground, but it's not technically also snow. It's also part of a culmination of the poison that Caesar unleashed. And because we do have to remember that this island is a very significant island, because this is, of course, where Akinu and Akoji, the two supreme admirals, had once at one point fought, and had changed the climate of the entire island to one side as a burning magma island and another side being a frozen wasteland. So literally, this is where they had a battle of supremacy, and right now the main battles took place on that icy field.
And in the past of One Piece, we had Whitebeard. Was there a Blackbeard in One Piece?
Yeah.
But not...
Don't ask silly questions. Yes, there was a Blackbeard.
Okay, there was Blackbeard, Whitebeard, now we have Brownbeard. I wonder if there's going to be a Pinkbeard, too.
If there is, I totally want to make that bet. $20 says Pinkbeard. All right, deal. Okay, we're looking for Pinkbeard now.
And that Pinkbeard will be Natsu.
Well, I think you actually have to go back to this, because there, in fact, is a historical pirate named Brownbeard. Look it up. Seriously, he exists.
I also know that there was a Blackbeard.
Yeah, well, yeah, but then again, he was more of a tyrant, but in this One Piece, he's more of a, well, actually, he's still a tyrant, but he's also a happily drunk tyrant.
And also on another note, there's no fairy tale in this episode because there's no update. Yeah, so also probably next week we'll talk about Fairy Tail.
Alright, well, to continue on with the story, so far it just seems like a tad of a reprieve for all the Straw Hat crew members and G5, as I said before. But usually now it comes down to when things get sorted out, and of course how the situation with taking care of Caesar and figures around Trafalgar Law's plan. However, we are unfortunately interrupted by the point at which Chopper has unfortunately seen the type of operation that Trafalgar does to his patients and doesn't appreciate it. But then we are also once again interrupted by Brooke screaming like a little girl, noticing that he has literally broken the body of Kainmon, their samurai friend who had unfortunately gone under the poison's vicious poison.
His hair looks stupid.
However, we find out that the poison is completely useless and only creates a hazardous shell around them until broken. We now then see that even his son, Momosuke, is now reverted from his transformation of a small dragon back into his child form. We then see him for what he really is, and of course they are excited to see that Momosuke is now reunited with his long-lost father. However,
aww.
But to unfortunately break up that happy moment, we notice that Law, in fact, has cut up most of the children. I'm not kidding. He said he liked cutting up their bodies to pieces.
For kids!
But that's just the dark tone of Trafalgar Law, because he, in fact, is called the Dark Surgeon. You can't really give him a title like that without giving him the attitude of a Dark Surgeon. But Chopper is actually relieved to see that most of the children and all of the children are all actually back together and all well and healing.
Um, I'm also like to know that they call him Raccoon Man.
The thing is that they first took him as, for most kids in Japan, usually when they see an animal of foreign ethnicity, I'm guessing, that they mostly spot it for a tanuki, not a raccoon, which is usually a mystical creature.
And we all know that these Tanukis use their own ball sacks for defense.
Well, we're not going with that, and of course, since Chopper is a reindeer, we're not going to see any defensive ball sacks in this. But I'm guessing Ichiro Oda could make that a fruit power. Defensive ball sack man.
That would be awesome.
And no, it would not. As for the excuse me. As for the rest of the chapter goes on, we now notice that even Nami has even given up the chance to even bond with the children that she had promised to save. For one, because it is her own way that usually most people would respond well to kids being rescued or anybody being rescued by a strong marine woman who Tsugi has actually decided to volunteer as. This is due to the fact that Belmare was in fact also a marine that found both her sister and Nami in a fire in a kingdom and then raised them on the island. However, unfortunately, due to the fact that she was killed by Arlong, we can only get back the small flashback, which unfortunately brings back a few tears to most favorite fans of Belmare. However, then we finally turn to Sanji, who has decided to actually use one of his new Kama arts, which is actually a 99 vital recipe for bringing back most of the energy that everybody has in fact lost. And of course, since he owes a meal to the samurai for how he saved them, Kaimon actually wants to eat the food, while Momosuke doesn't want to have anything to do with the pirates still, even though that he was rescued by Luffy.
And Luffy keeps saying "nummy."
Well, that's because, as you know, Luffy has an unhealthy obsession with food. I believe he may have a food fetish as well, but we're never probably going to find that out.
Oh, just like every other shonen character ever created.
However, Kaimon actually tells Momosuke that they're indebted to the pirates, even though that they are in fact pirates. The judgmental society for what a pirate is obviously affected what Kaimon thought of pirates, because when usually you would think of pirates, you would think of the bloodthirsty Kuro or Don Krieg, not the foolhardy Luffy character who just wants an adventure and to find One Piece.
I also want to point out that there's this one panel where you see like everybody saying it's party time, and if you look on your right, there's a guy who has straws in his nose.
That seems to me the running theme now, because ever since Water 7 arc, where everybody just decided to party their butts off, Frankie and Chopper did the very same thing by putting straws up their nose, and I'm guessing dancing around with a wicker basket.
Even Luffy is like doing it in one panel.
Yeah, but this is usually the norm for every ending battle, but unfortunately, since Trafalgar Law is a part of it, he does not know that Luffy is actually a party goer and is usually the strategic type to lay low. And noticing the party obviously is shocked to his bitter sight. However, we do in fact find a wonderful fact that the G5 are going back to the island to go free the rest of their crew members who had been affected by the poison who had thought been dead. However, then we finally go to what most of us have been looking for an answer for. And that was for the plan that Trafalgar Law had to take down one of the four emperors and wanted Luffy's help. It turns out that the first emperor he wants to take down is none other than the Kaido of the King of Beasts. Literally the person who's being supplied the smile fruit, which is the artificial Zoan fruit that Doflamingo provides to Kaido. However, we are in fact greeted by the idea that Luffy wants to take on all four of them.
Now that's balls, man. He's got balls.
Well, he did in fact talk to Whitebeard, to the shock of everybody's dismay, on the same level, and of course is friends with Shanks. And to know Luffy is more of a casual rivalry fighter than a bloodthirsty one. However, knowing that he in fact took land from Big Mom, which was in fact the Merman Island, a fight between them is definite to break out, and of course between him and Blackbeard, since Blackbeard is essentially responsible for the fate of Fire Fist Ace.
Okay, so now it's my turn.
We're just gonna knock Fonzie off right his plate. We were gonna go for 3 for 3, but no, we're gonna go for 2 for 2. Now we're back to Hero.
And now we go to we now go to Naruto number 617, where we see Naruto gives Rock Lee his Nine Tails power, and we all see more explanations of how the Nine Tails can exchange his chakra to anybody he wants. A ninja magic. I don't have to explain it. So
plot device no jutsu.
I use your powerful plot device no jutsu. And so we see everybody is like 10 times their power, and everybody's gonna go charge in at the Ten Tails, and as they charge in, like they all come in as like a Nine Tails Phoenix.
Well, actually, I got this reference because I remembered way back when I was into Naruto, I was so ready for Neji's battle between him and Naruto back in the first season, and it was all about the idea about the free bird complex, because Neji had been locked down by the main family, and since he was branch family, his brand on his forehead was ever cursed him to never become a free bird. And it was always considered that the bird was Neji's sort of familiar-esque animal.
Sort of a symbol, you might say.
Yeah, so this is sort of an ode to Neji as they soar through the sky, slicing off the Biju's arms with the form of a falcon or bird.
And the more I know.
Oh, shut up.
and so they come charging in at Obito and Madara, but then suddenly Naruto's arm becomes dislocated. I have to say this is kind of random, and then all of a sudden Hinata heals him, and so we know this scene is completely pointless.
I don't think it's healing. I think it's just literally just pushed it back into his arm.
Well, either way, it's still a pointless scene. So Naruto throws his a Rasen Shuriken, and Rock Lee lands a really big kick. But the point wasn't. But the point of the attack was not really to hit Obito or Madara, but to disconnect them from the Ten Tails.
Yeah, because most people who have read through the series know that still the Edo Tensei still affects Madara, so he's still technically immortal, so any attack would just go through him. However, the connector was broken, and of course
Obito has some sort of jutsu pretty much just anything can just go through him like a ghost.
Yeah, it's his dimensional warping jutsu, which allows physical and other elemental type attacks to go through him.
And we end with the chapter with the Legion of Doom. I'm going. Is this the place? Oh, the suspense is killing me.
I don't know. I want to actually see what they plan on doing in order to literally screw up the storyline while they are done fighting Obito and Madara. All of a sudden, oh, big doom, big dark scary plan. Oh, blah.
Now I'm gonna have to tell you, Fonzie. I kind of cheated. I kind of cheated and went on with the Scantrons. Yeah, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but it's pretty bad. Well,
you slut.
I'm pretty bad in a good way, where you'll be like, oh shit, and so that's the end of Naruto, and now we get to Nisekoi number 59. Long time no see.
This is because Hiro is in fact enlightened with his feminine side.
Now I have to tell you, this is actually a really good chapter because we're finally back to the plot, unlike the last chapter where it was just a filler chapter. So we get to the actual plot where it's almost Christmas, it's almost Christmas, and people are planning to throw a Christmas party, but Raku and Kurosaki have other plans. Now, I think I should also mention that I've actually been using their last names. Um, the male protagonist's name is Amichijo, and the female protagonist is a Chitoge.
Whenever you have the name of Joe in your name, you cannot go wrong.
Yeah. And so, and just by mentioning Christmas, Chitoge gets really freaked out. But she does explain why she's pretty freaked out about Christmas is because her mom is coming to visit, and she does mention that her mom doesn't really visit them all that much because she's a very busy woman. She does say that she has a 10-figure income, whatever that means. So technically, she doesn't fully explain what she does, but since her father's a gangster, I bet it's something illegal. And and so since
They could always be nice gangsters. Why is that never the case?
but
You judge way too much.
shut up.
I'm interrupting you now.
Shut up. and so and so since because they're faking a relationship, Amichijo has to meet her. So they get to so they get to her house, and all the gangsters are freaking out.
Boy, gangsters don't have balls in Japan, do they?
They're actually from America.
They still don't have balls.
But anyway, they're really freaking out on the fact that she's coming, and they call her Madam Flower. Michijo asks why they're called Madam Flower, and it's because her mom's name is Hana, which means flower in Japanese.
If you're a man and you're afraid of somebody named Madam Flower, you are not a man.
Beware the flower.
Oh, for God's sake, it's a daffodil. Everybody run.
and so we also meet her. So we also meet her dad, who is a really nice guy, and I also have to give credit to the artist who he actually draws her father like his age. He has wrinkles and and all that stuff.
Shout out to age spots.
And there is like this one scene that I thought was actually funny. That once they meet up, her dad starts going, Daddy's got a tummy ache. I think I'll leave. No, you're not. And so we finally meet her mom, and she looks like a 16-year-old.
Shout out to age reversal.
And so she's like, I'm home with a cigarette in her mouth. And Ichijo starts thinking, how really pretty she is, and how she looks too young and kind of looks old enough to be Chitoge's older sister.
Why in the world is the only person in this comic per se the only one who has balls is a woman?
It's Japan. What do you want? Now, just imagine this: a man who actually looks his age, and a mom who doesn't look her age. Can you say jailbait? I'm sure you can. And so Chitoge's mother asks her father where the paperwork is. She doesn't really explain what it is. Just paperwork. And as she finds out that he didn't do the paperwork, he commands her bodyguards to drag him into his office.
And if he doesn't finish it, he gets his eyes plucked out.
Or just no sex.
Either way, he gets nothing.
Yeah, either way, he gets nothing. And then she turns to Chitoge, and she's freaked out. And so she asks like simple questions like, "How is school?" And Chitoge is so nervous, saying, "Well, I came in 5th. Well, I'm 5th in my class." And her mom's like, "Chitoge, you came in 1st. You came in 1st in America. Why are you in 5th in Japan?" I'll try better, mommy. And then she meets, and then she gets introduced to Ichijo, where 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 she finds out that it's her boyfriend, and she also finds out that one of her secretaries has been hospitalized due to exhaustion. Yeah, she's the worst manager ever.
Yeah, but in his mind, he's probably saying, "Don't get a boner, don't get a boner,
don't get a boner, don't get a boner." And this is probably like her 5th secretary she's hospitalized, and so she turns around and gets Ichijo to be her secretary, and here's her, and she also proposes the reward, and I quote, "I'll reward you with a stay for two in a penthouse at a deluxe hotel on Christmas Eve." Ooh.
Yeah, but with who?
Who do you think?
I'm gonna say both of them and make it a party.
But in all seriousness,
nothing says manga like harem.
But in all seriousness, what she was basically saying was I'll reward you by allowing you to fuck my daughter.
Awesome! I love this mother. Such a proud role model for the young Japanese woman.
You know, for kids.
Stop saying for kids. We know this isn't for children.
And as the manga ends, we do get to see that glare.
And Ichijo being dragged and screaming.
No, but the thing is, this is... Okay, I should also say, this manga also has Tenchi Muyo syndrome. Where every female character that the male protagonist meets instantly falls in love with them.
Oh, boy. Wait, that's a good thing.
No, it's not!
Harem time!
That's one of the things I don't like about this kind of manga, but I really do enjoy this manga for what it is. And so that's the end of Nisekoi. Now we get to One Punch Man number 2. Ha! 3 in a row.
Yeah, take your 3 in a row.
This is the worst chapter. Ass. This is a worse chapter than the first one, because it's a flashback to 3 years earlier, where this plain looking guy comes across a crustacean creature wearing underwear.
Huh.
It's weird.
Are you sure we didn't jump to blah 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 blah?
No, I have to ask. No, I have to ask if this is a manga version of SpongeBob, where.
Oh, he's come to steal his Krabby Patties. This is terrible.
Oh, he'll be stealing his Krabby Patty.
Why does everything have to be an innuendo with you? Huh? In your endo.
Why does everything have to be an innuendo with you?
Hey, weren't you reviewing something?
No.
Aren't you procrastinating right now?
Okay. Okay. So anyway, this Krabs thing, ask why he's not running away, and he says, I'm unemployed. I'm looking for a job. Okay, well, see ya. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go kill some kid with a cleft chin. And so he finds that kid with a cleft chin, and he looks like a Stan Smith as a kid.
For those who watch American Dad.
Or to be
Roger, alien.
Or to be more precise, he looks like Peter Griffin if he was skinny. It's really stupid.
Yeah, but it seems that he doesn't seem to care, knowing the fact that, well, the Crab Man did not notice. He actually gets worried and notices, oh, wait, I actually drew nipples on him. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, that's the reason why he's trying to kill the kid, because he drew nipples on him. And then all of a sudden, this salaryman tries to fight him, uses his tie around his eye, and yanks his eye out. Okay, I think this...
Is this still the same person?
Did Frank Miller write this comic? Stupid fire.
That's pretty damn graphic.
Yeah, it's pretty graphic. And then we cut to the hero from before, saying, why am I not satisfied? Every time I punch someone, they die.
Well, when you train for years up in a mountain to have the point of being the strongest and you actually beat them...
Okay, he even mentions that he trained himself so hard he became bald because of it.
Nice.
How?
Going in the monk mode.
Still how?
Well, as we get off that very, very short chapter of One Punch Man.
It was still awful. I hate it. One Punch Man, you suck!
However, when we now go to something that does not was supposedly suck, we go to Bleach.
Oh, good, hooray.
Well, unfortunately for those who haven't actually followed the story, I'm still quite the fan. After all, I had read through chapters, and due to the Eisen arc being over, was kind of left really unfulfilled. But lately, most of the chapters have been exceptionally well done. And at first, we get, of course, a reintroduction to the lieutenants of both the 5th and 11th squads. And noticing that Kenpachi has left his eye patch. That's the thing that keeps his power from going crazy and murderous and dying. And of course, we go back to the battle with Unohana and Kenpachi, and boy, both of them are really out for blood this time. Flipping, slashing, and absolutely trying to decapitate each other with all means. And this is the Unohana that wanted to heal everybody. Really, this is the 5th squad captain whose main job was to heal people. Now she's out for literally his head. But even though it seems that she's trying to speak prolifically to him, the fact is she keeps saying the fact that he is still weaker. Even though the fact that he is going head to head with one of the first generation, he still keeps going. And of course, they go back into the romantic sort of combat theme for most bloodthirsty criminals. And that's usually the idea that both of them are so driven to kill each other that they almost admire each other for their bloodlust.
And he still keeps going like a boss.
Gotta say, after every time skip, epic mullet comes with. However, it seems that even with all of his immense strength, he still can't beat Unohana. But we soon seem to notice that beforehand, it seems that as Kenpachi was younger, he actually had the upper hand from what Unohana is saying. However, we even get the idea that Kenpachi may even lose, and Kenpachi actually shows compassion towards his own self by admitting that he may in fact die without ever beating her, and he actually starts to cry.
And then he took a sword to the neck.
Yeah, that's an actual sword to the neck. This is the same thing that happened to Ichigo when he first met Kenpachi. It was sort of an illusion, but I'm not exactly sure if it's illusion because he keeps coughing up more blood.
You know, as you do.
But then it seems that he got out of a blacked out state and is once again fighting Unohana, who seems to have even more blood on her now. What's the deal with that? However, still, he seems to want to keep on fighting and seems to get even more invigorated. Just wants to keep fighting even though he thinks that he's already been killed once or twice.
You know, like a boss.
However, we end the chapter off with Unohana describing that she may in fact have caused Kenpachi to become like this in the first place as her sin. So in the next chapter, we in fact may find out the past of both Kenpachi and Unohana.
And we're going to skip cross-manage because we don't have the time to read the whole thing. Plus, I've been hearing that cross-manage is probably gonna end pretty soon, so we're just gonna skip all that.
Well, still the fact is we owe it to them to at least give a better explanation of the ideas that we still cannot catch up with cross-manage because we still have not found the other scans to it to at least reference the chapter, or at least to get to know the characters. So unfortunately, we can't really review something that we aren't familiar with. But we have something else in mind.
Akira Toriyama is back with his new manga called Kintoki, and I want to say before that Akira Toriyama did submit another manga before Kintoki, but he was the writer and he had someone else to do the art. I can't remember what it was, but it was so bad that it got canned on like the first chapter.
Was this like what was it then, like Sandman thing?
No, it was that manga with with like this chick with aliens and all that.
Huh.
I don't know if you remember, but it was so stupid. I think it got canned on the first issue, but
Well, with the success of Dragon Quest games, obviously we've decided to go with the standard style of Dragon Quest before we make him completely emasculated with Super Saiyan, I'm guessing.
but yeah, the chapter begins with our main protagonist suddenly waking up and is and probably wants to participate in the Hunger Games as he shoots like a dragon-like creature which is known as the Thundra, which is like the fastest creature on this planet. Doesn't it remind you of that dragon from like How to Train Your Dragon? What was it called? Knight something.
I can't really remember that one.
Well. Anyway, it's like an extremely fast creature. Like it can move as fast as lightning if it wants to. So he kills and he drags it to a village where we meet where we meet our first heroine, who is a so-called mind. Well, no,
Fortune teller.
yeah, who is a so-called fortune teller. But we all know that she's a fake and just doing it for money.
And she seems to like to raid Peter Pan's wardrobe.
Yeah, the outfit's pretty stupid. But I'm willing to overlook it. And so she sees our main protagonist drag the Thundra by hand. Is like, wow, you actually caught that thing. You probably found it dead. There's no way that you could have killed it. And so our main character tries to sell the Thundra at a market, but the guy was trying to scam him, you know, by paying him less for what it's actually worth. So so the girl catches him and actually helps him get the money he actually deserves and buys her a soda.
Hey, nobody scams on my corner. Bitch, I will tell my pimp on you.
And so the two characters talk, and all of a sudden the main protagonist just suddenly asks to marry him.
Very, very forward.
Oh wow, he sure likes to be in a committed relationship.
Well, he seems to have more on mind than the marriage itself.
Well, he does actually have a reason for asking her to marry him.
That's just what I said.
Because apparently he's like, yeah, I say apparently he's the last of his clan, and before his father died, he told him to get himself a wife and reproduce the clan. So,
oh yes,
oh
ladies,
oh yeah.
Steal my thunder again. I dare you. Do it if you dare.
But she says no, and he's like, okay. But we also get to know his actual age, that he's actually 19. But he has a complex, so he's a midget.
I thought we weren't going to make reference to midgets. We do apologize for what we did last video. Please do not write bad things on our list.
And so he leaves, and she goes back to smoking. Because smoking is cool. And so we meet this prissy boy. So we meet this prissy boy and his merry men and Dr. Giraud.
Because of course, English gentlemen are always found wandering the desert, like they usually do.
And you know what? I think I actually want to make fun of him by reading one of his lines. Oh, I'm not here for that. I, Lord Barry, have come to ask you out on a date. Follow me, and I'll treat you to a
tempura lunch special.
That
really sounds romantic. He is such a Casanova. I'd date that. I'd hit that.
Oh, I know you would.
Hit, tap, lay
it. And of course she says no. And he pulls a gun. I mean, an invisible gun. No, I'm just kidding. He actually does pull out a gun on her.
A revolver, to be exact.
Do you feel lucky? Do you, punk?
Yeah, your Dirty Harry reference. You're a dirty
and so,
man.
and so as he's holding the gun to her,
A few people talk about him behind his back, and eventually he fires at one of them. But he fires at the exact wrong person who was talking about him. So this guy has actually no moral dilemma of shooting somebody point blank for no reason at all.
and so she tries to run away. And so she tries to run away, and it actually tells one of his guards to shoot her. Wow, he's so romantic.
Dude, he was just asking her out on a date. I think he wanted to bone her, not snipe her. Get it? Sniper? Sniper?
Pow.
Ow.
And so our hero hears the call. So he's also Superman. Dun dun dun. And so we see him come to her rescue, and in Dragon Ball Z style, or maybe not Dragon Ball Z, but more like Dragon Ball style. As he fights off the guards, and he eventually fights Dr. Gero.
We're gonna keep calling that, aren't we? Just because he's made out of the same design.
Yeah, same facial expression, same mustache.
Yeah, the guards don't really have.
The mustache. But we also do find out that he's one of his clan. Just like in Dragon Ball Z, where we think they're the only ones, but they're really not.
What's this deal with killing off your entire race or entire family? This is really dark.
Wait. I think I can already explain how his clan was wiped out. Frieza did it.
Oh yeah, really. Oh, so this is like Frieza Planet 4010.
and so we actually do find out that his entire clan is not really dead. It's not really dead, and he and Dr. Gero and his posse actually decide to come along. And
after
what was her name again? The chick, I forget her name.
Great review. After shooting down the Thundera for a second time, literally one arrow was not enough to kill it. He eventually befriends all the guards after knocking out the prince, and they all decide to actually head back to the village. And really, in this sort of weird type of friendship scale, actually decide to become friends in the end. And that's really how our chapter ends. Of how it goes on from there is only our guess. So this is a pretty interesting manga so far.
The main girl even says that she doesn't even mind being his girlfriend, but he's like, nah, no thanks, I'm just probably like a girl. There's probably a girl my race out there. Plus, Venetian girls are scary.
Now, we'll probably be seeing characters like that again and again, because, Akira, he likes to pour on the comedy at many points.
Yeah, but his some of the comedy is actually pretty good. I actually like the scene where two of the villagers were actually making fun of him, and then they get shot. Because it was funny.
Dick move.
But overall, I would actually like to see more of this manga because I think it has potential because it does have sort of that Dragon Ball feeling. Because we have Toki, who is our Goku character, but more serious, and then we have I just can't remember her name, but it starts with an M. Let me try to look it up real quick. Yeah, I'm such a professional reviewer.
Well, like we said, this is a podcast. This is just your thoughts and feelings on certain things. So after all, we're not. We're getting off topic. You made me do this. You did this to me. You did this.
Yes, and I just love to torture you.
Yeah, of course you do. However, ladies and gentlemen, even though that this is not part of the regular schedule, since we actually do not have a Fairy Tail to review, I, Fonzie, am actually requesting that you actually look into other manga when we don't have certain manga to review. So in this case, even though this is not a typical shonen, there is in fact a manga that is quite interesting out there that I think you should and probably would enjoy. It is in fact an adventure manga, but I like this one since it's set in nowhere near Japanese set style. I'm serious. There's barely any Japanese cover in or cultural boundaries in this one. It is actually more Arabian, Greek, and even Middle Eastern themed area. And of course, this is actually a manga called Magi, which takes place with a character named Aladdin. I'm not going to give really anything away. I'm just going to give this to you as information to see if you'd like to get a request in to see this manga. It is in fact only in scanlation form so far. However, if we get enough people, we could of course ask for Magi to start coming to America. However, in fact, also the anime is out as well. However, finding copies of it is very difficult thus far. Serialization and all that. However, do please check out Magi, and we hope to have a new fairy tale chapter out next week with the next Shonen Jump release.
and, and so I do have a few things to say. I actually did find out her name. It's a Merlusa. I don't know how you would pronounce it. But I'm sure someone will.
Merlusa.
Merlusa. And and at the end of it, and so before we end this podcast, I would also like to say that in next week's Shonen Jump, we're actually gonna get back Dragon Ball Z, but in full color.
In full color, huh? It's not like we didn't know that already. Well, anyways, that is it for us. This was Fonzie.
And this is Hero.
And we're signing off.